I just want to adore you. You got your teeth infected, the T-virus, yeah. I just want to ignore you. It's straight up Anunnaki, anarchy in my mouth. I just want to adore you. You got your teeth infected, the T-virus, yeah. I just want to ignore you. It's straight up Anunnaki, anarchy in my mouth. Dental rebellion, tea and crumpets with the queenie, yeah. What the hell is a crumpet? Yellow tea and yellow teeth, yeah. It's Resident Evil, the T-virus, yeah. British eyes with British thighs. Her thighs also have their own thighs, yeah. All-seeing eyes now. All-seeing eyes upon her thighs, yeah. My eyes are infected. My eyes are infected, and it's from you. My teeth are in anarchy, and they just run away from you now. My teeth are in anarchy, and they just run away from me too. My teeth are infected, and I just want to ignore you. My teeth are in anarchy. My teeth are in anarchy. My teeth are in anarchy, and they just run away from you. My teeth are in anarchy. Damn. Twerkers of the world unite. Twerkers of the world unite.
I want to live forever.
Damn. I seen you on that Instagram, girl. In them yogurt pants. Made me think. Damn.
Sexy little communist. Sexy little communist. Working out the praxis. Ooh, sexy little socialist. Like the bugs we eat for access. You just got a little extra meat. Call it for access. You own my heart and the means of production. Let me show you my means of reproduction.
Fetal cell
I want
sprite.
to live forever.
Tonight's the night. Ballin'. Like Joseph Stalin.
Ooh, sexy little communist. Sexy little communist. Doing little praxis. Ooh, I seen you on my Instagram. You made it my Sinstagram. Sexy little socialist. You gon' make me Marxist. Big girls need their loving too. You expose the big booty industrial complex.
Big booty industrial complex exposed.
Twerkers of the world unite.
So my son was headed off to camp, and before he went, he shared a really cool thing. I said, hey, what are you hoping to get from this? And he said, Papa, I just want to meet new people and do cool things.
There's a lot of cool people in the world. There's a lot of cool things in the world. Did you ever notice that? A lot of cool people. There's a cool guy named Bob and Bill. There's also a pretty cool guy named Phil, but not everybody's cool. Some people hit, but that's okay.
I just wanna meet new people, Papa. Meet new people, Papa. And I wanna do so many cool things.
Just want to meet new people and do a lot of cool things. Yeah.
Just wanna meet new people and do so many cool things. I just wanna meet new people and I wanna do so many cool things. I wanna meet people.
You know, the world has a lot of cool things in it. Like this thing right here is pretty cool. This thing's kind of cool too. You ever think about how many cool things there are? There's over 1 million cool things in the world. Think about Michael Jordan, he's pretty cool. You ever think about maybe something from the 90s that you like a pair of jeans, or something like a Beanie Baby that's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool things in the world. You ever think about it?
I just wanna meet new people and do so many cool things. I wanna do a lot of cool things.
Like I said, there's so many cool things in the world, you gotta think about it. There's cookies that exist. There's also some things that are pretty neat, like Game Boys. Sony disc Walkman, that's pretty cool. Doobies are pretty cool too. You ever think about that?
All right, what's up? Welcome everybody. It's a nice, balmy, chill Sunday. And we're going to be talking about basically just the last few things on my mind. So, if you notice, there's a weird mix in the show's thumbnail. You've got Yakub, me, you've got the black guy, and you've got Ilsa Faust representing Tom Coombs' movie. And then you've got Max Blumenthal's book. So we're going to talk about all those today, as well as crazy reels. We didn't get to crazy reels the other day, and I meant to. All right. Jamie is cooking, and so I asked her to cook with love. Because if she cooks with poison or with hate, I may not be here tomorrow. So I needed to speak to her to cook with love. Always ask your wife to cook and put love into it, or else. Now, some of you might be wondering, why is Yakub there? Well, other than being our creator and deserving of our honor and to be in every thumbnail, I did want to get to some of these crazy reels because, as you guys know, Tristana is the king of crazy reels. We could do whole shows based on crazy reels that Tristana sends, right?
So let's check out the first one, which will relate to Yakubianism indirectly. Even though it's not the Nation of Islam, hell, it might as well be. It might as well be. Why? Because we got a whole new vibe of the Black Hebrew Israelites, y'all. The smartest religion on the internet, new world religions, the Yakubian wannabe, the We Was Kangs Trumpers, that is, they trump the We Was Kangs people, are the Black Hebrew Israelites. So they're adjacent to We Was Kangs and to Nation of Islam. But I mean, this one was pretty wild. This is like a convention. Used to, in the 90s, you go to a comic book convention and everybody's dressed up LARPers, as you may or may not know. And now we got black dudes LARPing as Jews. It's really bizarre. But let's check out this Passover. Why are they wearing barbarian suits? It's like they're wearing medieval suits and then maybe a little bit of an ancient Jewish flavor to it. It reminds me of like Beastmaster. They're dressed like Beastmaster. I don't understand the aesthetics of what they're after. Because it's kind of like, they look kind of like Gimli, or you know what I mean? They're dressed like like Gimli, or they're coming out of Beastmaster. Let's get a good look at Gimli here, because maybe some of you nerds need to be refreshed. Right, we got a lot of Black Hebrew Israelites with a Gimli aesthetic going. They got that Gimli drip over here. Do they know what they're saying, or they just it sounds like glossolalia from the Pentecostals. You know what I mean? But hey, Tristan never fails when it comes to reels. Tristan keeping it reels with those Tristana reels. Let's see the next serving Tristana has for us. Another beloved brother who's over here. His name is Priest Godawayne.
Of course.
Let me ask you a question. Did Christ keep the commandments?
Of course he did.
Is eating flesh, human flesh, is that against the commandments?
Woo!
I'm not eating man's flesh. I'm eating the flesh of God.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Damn, son.
Right? Is it unlawful to drink a man's blood? Yes or no?
God's blood.
This is definitely a clip.
Man, it's God.
Bro, you really think you're eating literally the body of Christ, bro?
Damn, bro. It's time to quit, bro. We got refuted. All right. Listen. Y'all need some ethical instructions, too, because y'all don't know where you're coming from. Y'all don't know where you've been. Y'all don't know where you're coming from. I'm going to teach you some ethics. EFIKS, some ethics right here.
Like his own children, just like a good father would do to a son or a daughter. Hold on. So let me ask you a question. You said you sorry for what your ancestors have done. You said you different from your ancestors. You said that you
said that you were different. Let me berate you while I wear my Gimli outfit. You will submit to Sauron. You will submit to the king of the elves. You will submit to Galadriel, even though she a white bitch. Get down on your knees. You have oppressed the elves. You have oppressed the dwarves.
You are not like them.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you said?
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Well, let me see. We're going to see if you're going to finish the job. No. Anybody can do that part because that don't take no real work. The next part is if you're really sorry, what it say? Give me Isaiah 49 to 23. I'm going to tell you what God said. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 49 and verse 23. And
That dude's he full Jordan out.
kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to...
Why is this dude? He's got fatigues from Desert Storm. Or is he going hunting? I can't tell. I can't tell if he's been out hunting with Hank Jr. or if he just got back from Desert Storm and then fatigues. And then maybe he's going to go out to Vegas because he sewed some patches on there too.
thee with their face toward the earth. That's the first step. The bowing with your face toward the earth.
He's got some cowboy patches, so he's headed out to New Mexico.
Go ahead and do that.
Listen, this is how we achieve racial reconciliation and harmony. A lot of y'all haters, a lot of y'all, white devils out there, you just furthering the problems. Y'all are furthering the tensions. All you got to do is get down on your knees to your local Black Hebrew Israelite. Perhaps purchase him a new set of chaps. Perhaps purchase a new set of fringe. Because they got a little bit of Hank Sr. in there with them too. Who would have thought? Who would have thought a Black Hebrew Israelite could combine the hunting fatigues of Hank Jr. as well as the fringe of Hank Sr.
And lick up the dust of thy...
Look at that. He's a perfect match. And he's got a dookie chain. So he's got it all. That's reconciliation, bro.
Kiss the boots of the children of the slaves. There you go. Start with that boot right there.
You gotta kiss them Timberlands. Kiss them Timberlands. That's the only way to achieve racial reconciliation, son. Kiss them Jordans. The other black dude was wearing Jordans. Get it? He was wearing jean shoes with jean socks. Michael Jordan. Oh, what a awesome day to begin a Sunday, the Lord's Day, with a little bit of Yakubian truth, even though the Black Hebrew Israelites don't yet recognize Yakub. We are presently in the midst, shall I say, of some ecumenist discussions. I've arranged multiple ecumenist gatherings and interfaith gatherings between Orthodox, Black Hebrew Israelites, Nation of Islam. We are in a fruitful dialogue, and we may yet convert them to recognizing our true Creator. By the way, if you want to support the stream, welcome everybody. You can leave a super chat using the Streamlabs link in the show description. Austin became a member. Welcome, Austin. So we're starting it off with a little bit of fun with some of the classic reels that we always get from beloved Tristana. Ooh, I never know what to expect either. So these are all fresh to me. I figure Tristan sends me, like everybody has that friend that sends you 25 reels a day, and you're like, bro, I just watched one a week ago. Yes, please. Thank you very much. You're so sweet to make the coffees. Appreciate that. And you put some love into it too. Thank you. No hate in there. I'm like, Tristana, I'm still 50 reels back, dog. And then he's sending like 20 more reels. Like, you better read these other ones. That's how Tristan talks when he's not doing his internet persona. He's like, Tristana, oh, my name is Tristan. On the internet, he's like, oh, meat, carnivore, oh, manly. And then in person, he's like, oh, it's fabulous, the decor. Anyway, so he's sending me like 50 reels, and I'm like, bro, slow down, dude. I just got to the third Black Hebrew Israelite reel. But, hey, it's infinite party time when Tristan is sending you reels. Let's check out the next one. We've got a little bit of Steve Harvey over here.
It really can't be discussed on national television because it involves.
Now, this about Steve Harvey. What was he at them parties at? Y'all heard about Puff Diddy, P. Diddler? Well, Steve Harvey might have been at some of them parties.
Involves excessive amounts of baby oil, low lights, and moaning.
Your favorite. Just for you.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
Give me some of that petroleum products all over my body while I act like a preacher, game show host. I think in the mind of black dudes, especially Protestant black dudes, preachers are game show hosts. They're pretty much, Steve Harvey's like the perfect synthesis of the two. That's pretty much what you got going on. Could he have been? Absolutely. I think pretty much everybody that Cat Williams mentioned, right, is pretty much probably on the inside, don't y'all think? Part of this brothers on the DL, if you know what I mean. By the way, everyone like and share it. What's up, James? He sends 10 pounds. He says, what do you think about black fatigue? Bro, the only fatigues I'm talking about is these battle fatigues, son. I'm talking about wearing some of them Hank Williams Jr. mixed with Hank Williams Sr. fatigues. That's the only black fatigues I'm talking about, the ones that brother was wearing. He was wearing both. He had camouflage and he had some drip and some swag all in one. That's the only fatigues that I'm wearing. And anytime I see a black man wearing that fatigue, you know I don't have black fatigue. I got black fatigues. That's my answer to your question. Your question.
It just go with everything. You can get baby oil on pizza. I done got it on pizza before. You taste it, you can't even hardly taste it. I done had baby oil all around my mouth before. I don't even know it's...
I let baby oil on pizza. Jamie, put some baby oil on that pizza you making in there. Oh, shit. Oh, well. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Now what's Tristan got? You understand this is all fresh to me. Just as it is fresh to y'all. That's what makes this fun is this is my raw reaction. Thank you. To the last 100 reels from Tristana. Now we got a community boomer sing-along in Oregon. Eugene, Oregon. Anybody that would name a town after a nerd is just something's wrong. You don't name a town Eugene. You don't name a town Poindexter. You don't name a town Deontarius. Even though I would probably wear my fatigues if I lived in Deontarius. But let's see what these boomers are up to in Eugene, Oregon. They're involved in some kind of a drum circle. Hope it's not copyrighted because that screws everything up. What's Tristana got for us now? Boomers are like, why do the young people always fuss about boomers? I wonder why. What in the hell is going on? What is this? Community single. It's Chloe Lieberman. Chloe Lieberman's song. Listen to the light alive inside. Listen to your heart. Listen. What's that song? Tell it to my heart. Tell me I'm the only one. Is this really love or just a game? Tell it to my... Is that Taylor Dane? This is Taylor Drain. Listen to your heart. I never thought I'd say it, but I think I actually prefer Taylor Dane to Chloe Lieberman's drum circle for boomers. Tell it to my heart. Tell me I'm the only one. Is this really love or just a game? Wouldn't you rather hear that than whatever the hell this is? Shit. Don't tell me you... Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me, son. I did like the fact that when the Hodge twins put up this picture, they played Enigma, which cracked me up. So if you didn't see I don't know if the song still plays. I can't play it because it'll ding the copyright, but it's that one Enigma song that everybody knows. This one, you know. The Sadness, which was a funny song to put up, but everybody was raking me over the coals in the comments, so I just gave up reading the comments because we had a great podcast, great conversation, and once again, the idiocy of Islam comes to the fore with the goofiest goobers. I mean, goofier goobers than SpongeBob's goofy goobers. Like, you just can't even talk to these people. You know what I mean? He did not refute Islam. He not know Islam. 1 1 1 equal 1. Anyway, it was not worth even going through. They're like, this, it's just so low tier. But I did appreciate, I got a kick out of them playing Enigma. All right, so look, I thought we were getting away from ethnicity culture. You know what I mean? Y'all like them ethnicities? Y'all believe in ethnicities or not? Them ethnic. Y'all believe in ethnics? Let's see. What's... Oh, okay. I am Ashantis. I'm Ashanti. She says anti-fat is anti-black. Anti-fat is anti-black. Do y'all agree? Let's hear this song first. I thought it was going to be a song. I was kind of liking that beat, and we didn't even get any music. We just got her, a black chick slapping her hand. Now, to change it up a little bit, to get a little more cream in our coffee today, I can't play this one, though, because of the copyright. But you can enjoy the idea of what's going on in this video, because what would happen if nuns were singing Madonna's song about her chastity, you see. It's like it's a little prayer. I'm gonna take you there in the midnight hour. I can feel your power. Y'all know that one? Y'all ever heard of Madonna? A bit of a novelty. Thank you, Tristan, for that. Let's see, what else has Tristan got for us? Is this... Who's that boomer? It is that boomer freaking damn Neil Young, right? Neil Young is taking on the fascism on a vegan channel. Shout out to the vegans. Neil Young's taking on the fascists. Dude, I can sing better than Neil Young. That's terrible. Taste your freedom, fascism. That's awful. Ugh. Did you hear that? He's awful. You're a fascist. What's so stupid is that all of this was rolled out by the Democrats and the green agenda to have electric cars. And these idiots call that fascism now. Their own thing is fascism. Did y'all know that the portals are opening? Yes. If you didn't know, portals are literally opening right now. And the New Agers are causing it.
The timelines are shifting, the paradigms are transcending. Humanity is awakening, our light is expanding. It's time for us to dance and sing. The portals are opening, the timelines are shifting, the paradigms are transcending. Humanity is awakening, our light is expanding.
She kind of looks like an alien in the face. What do y'all think? you think, oh, is this an attractive lady singing songs? No, it's an alien-faced chick. Now this one, everybody's kind of debating this. I'm going to call BS. What do y'all think about this? I do not believe that Hailey Bieber is over here outreading, and topping Not So Erudite. This has to be, I thought at first maybe this is like an AI joke or something, but I don't think it is. It's just funny. And everybody else in the comments even thinks this can't be real. What do y'all think? Tell me what you think. Tell it to my heart. Tell me I'm the only one. Is this really love or just a game?
Books that I've been reading. I love this one. Probably my 4th or 5th time reading it. So good. Another one that I've been loving recently. This is actually my 2nd copy of it. Yeah.
What?
She's
not reading that. And by the way, I just learned the other day that her dad is Baldwin. That was just on Jamie Kennedy's podcast, which, I don't know, just all the worlds are colliding and mixing, and nothing makes sense anymore. The only thing that makes sense is that nothing makes sense. So how about that? We got ladies out here channeling. Y'all want to see about, again, nobody tops Tristan when it comes to Senstagrams. You made it my Senstagram. If you didn't know, by the way, Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop company sells rocks that are medical rocks. Magical medical rocks. Y'all don't have enough rocks in your life. Reach out to Gwyneth Paltrow, get some of her goop. But better than goop is the channeling. There's podcasts now. Podcasts are getting so oversaturated. There's so many podcasts in the world that they got to bring on channelers now. And we just got to talk directly to the Alien High Council. Why don't we just do this from the get-go? We would have had our answers. We would have known what's going on, the mysteries of the universe. We waited 15 years of podcasting before we just channeled the Alien High Council.
Oh, we are here. We are very happy to be here. Yes, indeed, dear one. Yes, we are here. Yes, we do have a message for you and your community. And
so the Alien High Council is a British lord from the 1890s with a stovetop hat, apparently, and a monocle.
The world, there will be a shift that will happen on your planet. The frequencies of your world will shift dynamically. We implore you now, understand you are in control of your individual experience, your individual frequency, your individual understanding.
Am I playing the wrong
for
one?
now. You can.
I played the wrong one. I'm sorry. I got 2 different windows. I apologize for y'all. So here we go.
On your planet, the frequencies of your world will shift dynamically. We implore you now, understand you are in control of your individual experience, your individual frequency, your individual understanding for now. You can create what you desire for your future by merely existing in a frequency that is higher and better. Know that we are here. Higher, better. To support you through this shift of planet.
I thought for a second, this looks like Clara Forliani now, right? Like mom core Clara Forliani channeling the alien entities.
Nothing's happening to you. It is for you and the betterment.
Did I play the wrong clip? Did y'all see the Hailey Bieber one, or did I accidentally play it on the wrong window? Did y'all miss the Hailey Bieber one? Do I need to play it again? Did it? Now we're going to have to go back to the Hailey Bieber one because that one was too good to miss. So let me scroll back here, and here it is.
These are just a couple of books.
So this is Bieber's wife. Didn't you know she is reading the highest tier philosophy texts out there, and she's reading them like 4 or 5 times through.
A couple of books that I've been reading. I love this one. Probably my 4th or 5th time reading it. So good. Another one that I've been loving recently. This is actually my 2nd copy of it.
I mean, I guess on one level, it's kind of neat if people are talking about philosophy books on a wide level. But at the same time, like with Not So Erudite, a lot of people don't actually read these things, and they just give the appearance of reading and knowing these things, which is two different things. And did y'all see the alien chick? Let me show you this one. I might have been playing the wrong window, so let me make sure you see this one here. So here's the alien chick in her mom jeans.
The timelines are shifting, the paradigms are transcending. Humanity is awakening, our light is expanding. It's time for us to dance and sing. The portals are opening, the
Timelines are shifting, the paradigms transcending. Humanity is awakening, is expanding.
It's time for us to dance
And to sing. Yes. That's the kind of vibe we want. No racism. No alien high council channeling. Right? All right, let's see. What else has Tristan got for us? A lot of people say when you get older, you can't represent a certain style. You can't rep a certain drip. Gen X man says, hell no. I want to get y'all's take in the chat. Is it okay to be fully shredded gene-wise if you're over 50?
I'm over 50 and I still wear shredded down. Tell me, what does style have to do with age?
Oh, mic drop. Did you invoke a little bit of ageism with your racism? Can I get a side of ageism with that racism there? Oh, I think you guys just got owned. Maybe it's time to get educated. All right. Tristan is on a tear here.
You lost it.
I sent Tristan this clip. I was impressed with this one. Let's see what you guys think. Why can't we return? Do you know in the 80s, gangs didn't fight the way we think of gang fights? Okay. Back then, it was a more like West Side Story. When a gang was going to fight another gang, you didn't resort to violence. You resorted to dance off. And why don't we settle battles this way like they used to in the 80s?
You're the loser, punk. Try me.
Y'all ready for this?
Try me.
I keep playing the long window. I got a little word for those that are talking smack to me, because there are a lot of people talking smack to me right now on the internet. You want to talk some smack? Before you talk smack, why don't you watch a little bit of this? You still talking? I didn't think so. Lock and drop it. I like that one. Tristan's on a roll, dude. Let's see. What else have we got? I think everybody's seen Living in LA. Let's see.
Y'all living?
What about some Cholo wisdom? We have not heard Cholo wisdom in the midst of all of our racial struggles. We've heard from the brothers. We've heard from the white women channeling the alien high council. What does the delegates and the legates of the Cholo high council have to tell us?
LA is a whole ass cheat code, and I grew up here. But if I didn't grow up here, I would still end up living here, and let me tell you why. If you put on a nice outfit and go take a stroll down West Hollywood, Melrose.
A nice outfit such as this man is wearing. First of all, he's wearing a drunk ant hat at a Warrant concert, right? What the heck is that bedazzled drunk ant from 1985 doing on his head? And he's got way too much ring swag. He's got giant Alan Moore ritual magic rings. He's got blonde highlights like a Skittles man. I mean, this dude is, I don't know what's going on.
Goddamn, even Santa Monica, something good is bound to happen. You're down to click in and mingle with the right types of people. So I have two examples of this. I was out earlier. I had my entire outfit on, right? You see, I got the glasses, I got my scarf, my hat, and I had this jacket with like a fur hood on, right? I went to like a Bose pop-up, you know, like the speaker things. And I walked in, I met one of the guys that helped through the event. I got a free speaker. I got free headphones.
Because he was dressed like... I wish I'd have known this before we got to LA, because then I would have got some of this free swag, some free Bose speakers. All you got to do is, I got all kind of swag like this.
He comes up to me, he's like, bro, I love your outfit. We start talking, whoop, whoop, whoop. I get his contact, and it's that easy to network in LA. I used to work as a casting director, right? Casting music videos for like Tyler, the Creator.
Casting music videos for Richard Simmons. What?
Weekend, Justin Bieber, bunch of big artists. And half of my job was to walk down Melrose, walk down random heavy places with foot traffic out here in LA, and just find people that look cool. Like I remember one time
his job was to find people that look cool. Who believes that, by the way? I don't live in LA, but I'm going to guess that everyone in LA works for or worked for one of the big stars. What do you want to bet everybody says that? Some of these I'm a little scared to play. Now, here's one I saw that was pretty good. And I might just try out this line to see if it's still legit. Let's see if we can call it. What do y'all think? You know, y'all know every time we do one of these, I always call it. And I don't think we've had any of these that actually work. Maybe one day we'll get one that works. Let's see if we can try. Let's see. 1-900. We're gonna call. Let's see what the ad is first. Let's see if we want to call. I feel like we do want to call for sure. First of all, I don't want to get their recorded messages. I want their number. So let's see if we can get the Corey's number.
Corey Haim and Corey Feldman are giving out their personal numbers. If you call 1-900-909-3700, you can listen to their private phone messages and get their personal number where you can leave them a message of your own. $2 the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. Ask your parents before you call. 1-900-909-3700.
I don't have parents but right now around here, but Jamie would be the closest thing. Jamie, can I call the Corey's line to get their personal number? Okay, so Jamie give me permission. Everybody get permission in case you do this.
If you call me right now, I'll give you my private number. You call that number, and you'll hear a recording, and I'll give you my personal number if you call that.
So I call the number, I'll hear a recording, and then I get Corey Haim's personal number. Is that the deal? Everyone heard that's the deal, right? Okay, let's check it out. All right, so 1-900-909-3700. Let's see.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Damn it.
Please hang up and redial the number.
Can somebody get in touch with Corey Feldman, because this is false advertising. I dialed the number, as you can see.
Advertisement 5.
I was promised a Feldman or a Haim personal number, and I have received neither today. So I don't know who I need to talk to. Can somebody put me in touch with one of them? I think we could talk to Corey Feldman. He's still around. He's still putting out bangers, right? By the way, I was staying at an Airbnb, a B&B, a bed and breakfast, owned by an Indian man who was very kind, charitable Indian man who wore his Indian military fatigues, by the way, which was interesting. So imagine staying at a B&B in Arkansas and a Indian man runs it who wears his military fatigues. I don't know what, I felt like I was still tripping from high school maybe. I don't know, but this song was sent to me by the magical algorithm, the AI deity, that morning, and it's an Indian hit. Y'all ready?
Beauty, beauty, your name is beauty. Pretty, pretty, you are very pretty. Pretty, pretty, you are very pretty.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely.
E for England, we love England. You study in England. India is your motherland. Beauty, beauty, your name is beauty. Pretty, pretty, you are very pretty.
If you guys are looking for this amazing pop star, he's 5 times bigger than me on Instagram, and his name is Raku Kazum, and he's full of hits. So that's who beats me on all of the social medias. So there you go. Did I play the right one or not?
Name is beauty, pretty, pretty, you are very pretty. Pretty, pretty, you are very pretty.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely.
E for England, we love England. You study in England. India is your motherland. Beauty, beauty, your name is beauty. Pretty, pretty, you are very pretty.
For my new movie,
Pretty, pretty, you are very pretty.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely.
And a little bit of blast from the past. We have this Corey Feldman classic. This is an overlooked gem. I don't know why the YouTube version intersplices weird images of leather stuff. One time when I played it, somebody said, "Did you put that in there?" Yeah, I put that in there. Yeah. No, it's the YouTube version of it, which is somebody else's weird upload. And I don't think this one has it, but it does have a wine ant who is very, shall we say, turned on by Corey's moves. I didn't know such dance moves could actually really turn a woman on like that. I'll have to... Jamie, can dance moves really turn a woman on? If I pop, lock, and drop it in an effective way? Okay. So apparently women go crazy for this. You guys tell me what you think.
Dream a Little Dream with Jason Robards. It's called Something in Your Eyes. I'm going to do it right now.
from my new movie, Dream a Little Dream with Jason Robards.
Hell yeah.
Something in your eyes, I'm going to do it right now.
Just one more time, we want to see her face. Whoa. Her mind just got blown, dude. What? She can't process this. Not only is this one of the Corys of the 80s, he's blowing her mind with literal Jacko style moves that haven't been seen since Jacko. My mind would be blown too. In fact, it probably is. What do you guys think? Are your minds blown? Can you process this? All of you normies who don't know what it's like to be musical artistic geniuses. Oscar Roland Spets sends 200 knocks. What is your opinion on what's happening in Georgia? I'll be honest with you, I don't know what's going on in Georgia. I've been on the road for 2 weeks straight. I have no idea what's going on in other countries other than what I catch randomly in the news. So if you drive to California and back, all I know is Corey Feldman has got Jacko moves. Jordan Kipp became a member. What's up, Jordan Kipp? H. Brazi became $5. Yeah, dog. Indian men never beat the Predator allegations. Yeah, that guy did look a little bit old for his pretty, you are very pretty. But when you got Corey's dancing, older ladies are gonna be moved. It's just the spell. It's just the vibe. It's the curse that some of us men have, especially when older ladies see moves. As Jamie says, that not that Jamie's an older lady, but Jamie testified to men pop locking and dropping it, as we saw with the street gangs that engaged in breakdance fighting. Some women can't resist it. What do you like? What do you want? Sorry. Eric Vigilant, $5. If you see me out in Quahog, say hi. But if you meet me at the Clam, I'm a talkative guy. Cody, $3. Dr. Delmon Coates of Mount Enon Baptist Church that has 9,000 members tried to do a sermon, and he used Greek to argue that the Bible condemns prostitution, but not fornicating. You should react to this. I've seen everybody talking about that, but I mean, as mega churches go, is that even a scandal anymore? That's like tame for mega church. What are you talking about? Hauling the goods, not hauling oats, hauling the goods. $10. What am I watching? Did I step into another dimension? This is nonsense. Welcome to my channel, bro. You must be new here. Exactly. I'll take that as a compliment. This is the most high IQ, high tier nonsense you will find on the internet. I'll take it as a compliment. Now, we got some intentional community bros. Tristan is always sending me the intentional community bros. They're some of the dumbest out here. Let's see what this dum-dum's saying. Now, sometimes it's hard to tell if they're joking, because sometimes you get, these sort of these JP Spears types. So let's see, the dude's got a dragon tattoo on his titties here. Let's see what he's saying.
It's just a friendly reminder that no one knows what the fuck is going on. We don't know why we're here. We don't know where we came from. Dude. We don't know where we go when we die.
Bruh.
We barely know anything about space, if that even exists.
Dude, like, what is even anything, man? What is even anything, dude?
And we know even less about what's going on at the bottom of our ocean.
Shit,
yet we
man.
keep having these pissing contests with each other, whether what the best diet is, whether...
It's so toxic, bro. It's just like so, it's like everything SoCal is like so sweet, and everything that's not is like so toxic or whatever.
Elon Musk is an alien, whether we actually landed on the moon, or if the world is run by a small group of psychopaths that want to create a new world order. Those last two ones might be true.
Bro, we don't even know, like, what we don't know. We have known knowns and known unknowns. Basically, Donald Rumsfeld was right the whole time, bro. Ooh, I want to play that one, but I don't know if I can get away with it because I just don't even know what words I'm allowed to say anymore.
Ladies and
I don't know if I can say the N word. Do I have a pass? I felt like the Hodge twins granted me a pass. Many other African American individuals have granted me a pass, but I feel like I'll get in trouble if I say it. And yet we have our comedian friends who have prepared the way by tearing down the bridges that separate us by making it acceptable for white comedians to say the N-word. Shout out to Sam Hyde. Shout out to Sam Tripoli. Shout out to Leonardo. All preparing the way for racial harmony by making the N-word acceptable again. But I don't know if I'm able to say it. It's like I'm a victim of technology. I've been tricked.
please welcome to our show, Yakub.
Oh, shit. Oh, this is a comedy show. I thought it was going to be an actual clip of Yakub. I don't want other comedy shows. I want the real Yakub. Let's see. Is this that preacher? No, this is something else. Even Tai Lopez had to chime in on this one. What the hell's Tai Lopez saying on this? Tai Lopez says, R's are hard. Who are R's? Retards? Is Tai Lopez over to make fun of retards? What's going on?
I see trees of green. I see the moon.
Hold on. Is it racist if it's an ethnicity doing this? I don't know. Y'all have to tell me. I don't know the rules anymore. I can't figure it out. All right. We got any more gems, and then we're going to move on to something else. What is this? Oh, no. Scrippas. Now we're talking. That's what I want to talk about. Scrippas. What are the Scrippas up to? What is this? We still don't know who she is. This is a classic Bay Area mystery. Now, Tristan will tell you all day long about Bay Area underground rap scene. He'll talk about E40 all day long. And he'll talk about who's that black dude, the rapper that created the hyphy scene and the song about doing ecstasy. I don't know the Bay Area rap scene. You'll have to ask Tristan, who's an expert on that. Why in the hell is Tristan an expert on Bay Area rap? Nobody knows. That makes no sense. What the heck? Was Tristan a zigger in his previous life before we knew him on the internets? Or was he just a cool SoCal bro that just happened to know all the rap scene up in the Bay Area, which is not SoCal? I don't know what's going on. Nothing makes sense anymore. I'm just accepting the craziness. So let's see what's going on here with this Bay Area mystery.
I love this nigga right here. I swear to God.
It looks like Laura Loomer. Is that Laura Loomer previous life was over here with all the Bay Area rappers?
I die, making them bitches cry. And nigga, don't ask me why. I know that pimp.
Now, see, I'm going to get us copyright from all this. Who she is. Who that is. And why the hell is Tristan sending me this? What the hell does this even mean? Is Tristan sending me code? He wants me to decode and make sense of this? I don't know what's going on. We got evangelicals out here. Oh, here we go. The evangelicals. I'm about to become an evangelical, y'all. I know it's going to make some of y'all mad, but it's just the arguments are too good. The evidential apologetics is too strong. Let me give you a case in point. If you saw a man extend a foot an extra inch and a half, would you still be Orthodox or would you convert? Be honest. Be honest. Prepare yourself because I'm about to make you Protestant.
Grow, 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 grow.
Shell, look like Roseanne Barr's. He grew Roseanne Barr's foot 1.5 bars. Look at that. Grow, grow, grow. I'm about to go to DeMonte's church. Y'all want to, I bet you, what do you want to bet DeMonte got 50,000 people times more audience than me? He doesn't. Well, he will. DeMonte's got 6,000 followers. I'm surprised you don't have 6 million followers. And he's over here growing legs. Anybody want to get you got a little bit of a nub? You got a nub at the end of your right foot. You got a nub at the end of your left foot. Head on over to the DeMonte's church. Free of charge. Grow that nub leg an extra 1.5 inches for free. Oh man. Where do we go from here? What? Oh my gosh, I can't even play that. Let's see. Let's get some alpha wisdom.
As a man,
we've had a lot of. Oh, this is a comedy show. I don't want to see a comedian. I want real alpha wisdom. We did the evil laugh competition last time. We can't play that. Oh, these are the best. Y'all like the trip stories? We'll close out with this one before we move on to a new subject. These are some of my favorites, the LSD trip stories. Let's see what this brother been up to right here. Let's see.
Story you can tell me.
So I took 1,000 UGs of Gamma Goblin LSD one time.
What the heck is a UG? Like doses, milligrams? What's a UG? I took a lot of UGs of LSD. And what is Gamma Goblin? I don't even know. Anybody want to support the stream through Super Chats? I'm here entertaining you. It's not for free. Hello, Pay Piggies, where y'all at? Do I got to play the song Pay Piggy before I get some of that cash? Let's see. We got another Super Chat. Did we read this one? Jatuan? I hope you're having a good day. I missed this one. Excuse me. I'm celebrating my birthday today. Happy birthday to Jatuan. Happy birthday to Jatuan. How's that? I know it's a black guy name, so you want me to beatbox at you. Oh, by the way, BHI dress in Mortal Kombat gear. Exactly. Dieter Groip, $5. You and Andrea led me in the direction of orthodoxy. I became a catechumen today. There we go. That gets a double beatbox. Petty sends $10. Christ is Risen, truly is. What's a good book that teaches orthodox soteriology for an evangelical, theologically and biblically trained? I would start with Christological Controversy by McGuckin, because that will fix all the Protestant soteriology issues. Keep up the good work. The Slavic mind lives in contradiction. Well, she argued the Slavic mind can accept contradiction, but I don't know if it lives in it, but maybe. I don't know. Templar Hal, $5. I hope you're having a good Memorial Day weekend. I'm having fun. E.T. Strength, $5. Oh, did you look at the Techno Priest? Oh, I forgot about this one. Somebody sent me the Techno Priest, and I don't remember who, but I could probably just look it up. Let me see if I can find it. Let's listen to this man's trip journey. He went into the ether sphere. He went into the beyond, and let's see what wisdom he brings back from his 1,000 UGs of Gamma Goblin LSD.
And thought I was dying 45 minutes later on the come up. And 6 hours later, my girlfriend at the time cut off a piece of my tongue because while I threw up, I cut it open. Then I stared in the mirror for like 3 hours, tripping balls.
Dude's giggling.
And trying to cut off.
Dude's giggling with a piece of his tongue being cut off. What the heck? He's like, my girlfriend cut a piece of my tongue off.
Piece of my tongue. Jeez. Fucking don't take that much.
You'll be tongue-tied.
No. I found out later it like grows back, so I shouldn't have even cut it off.
Wait a minute, tongue grows back? What if we started making appendages out of tongue? Then our appendages would grow back. What the heck? What if we made our whole bodies out of tongue and we could resurrect? I just solved the mystery of immortality.
I thought I was gonna bleed out from the inside. That's what I thought was happening. I thought I was like bleeding out. Sober, it didn't make sense, but I was tripping it. I'm here, so.
Hey, what's a trippy story you can tell me?
So I took 1,000 UGs of Gamma Goblin LSD one.
Gamma Goblin. Exactly. What that is that? I'm trying to find the Techno Priest. Is this him? No, that's not it. It doesn't really seem to work good on the search on your browser. Let's try again. Here we go. Oh, here it is. The priest that turned Christianity into rave. You know what? This is actually going to be a good transition because we're going to talk about a little bit about Mission Impossible 2, which has this in the movie, if you don't recall. So let's see. This is where the Novus Ordo's at, y'all. Remember, you got to be a Roman Catholic, according to the goofballs on the internet.
According to Voice of Reason, if you were living in Brazil, you should go to the Techno Priest church because that's the only valid techno rave mass. It's the new rite. It's the new rite of the rave. Do not go to the Latin mass because they are a schism.
You know who Voice of Reason sounds like? TikTok.
Dorothy Gale. Please wind me up, Dorothy. Dorothy Gale. Do not go to the Novus Ordo, Dorothy.
Here's the Techno Priest. Padre Guillerme, the priest who raves with papal approval. So now you can go to the official Novus Ordo rave. Yes, you heard me right. Now, remember, us orthos are schismatics. But if you are Roman Catholic, you could go to the techno rave, dude. It's a valid techno rave. Why are you trying to be a bitch ass about it? It's valid. Zach, 20 memberships gifted. Messianic Australi, 7-8 pounds. Hold up. I got to pay for this? I thought all this ish was free. You thought wrong, son. You thought wrong. I don't work for free. I work for BTC. That's it. Every bit of fiat is immediately transmutated into like a philosopher's stone. Gold, digital gold. When I get my turntables, I'm about to order some turntables. I'm going to play this song. I'm going to remix this one for y'all. Special remix for y'all. I'm going to remix this gay ass Novus Ordo shit into something legit. Jack the Guitar God sends $5. He says that techno rave gives off John Wick vibes. Whoa, I need a gun. You watch the whole trilogy or quadrilogy of John Wick, you're gonna get one or two lines from Keanu. All he says is, I need a gun. That's it. Someone find me a gun. Imagine being Keanu Reeves. You get $500 million. One line. Someone find me a gun. That's it. Hallowed Night, $10. The Techno Order inspired me to crush all heresies. Templar Howl, $5. Growing legs as a Protestant. Techno as a Catholic. What do we get next? How about a rave that is a miracle rave, and I'm the DJ, and by dancing, you grow your nub legs out? My miracle rave. Let that process. Let that roll around in your noggin for a minute, you bunch of goobers. I'm a goofy goober. You're a goofy goober. Anyway, what's up next? Let's move on. A little bit of horn tooting. Why would I toot my horn? Well, over the years, I noticed as I was searching through old photos in the phone, you can now search your images, and I searched back to 2018, 19, 20, 21. I want to see the first time that I did buy Bitcoin, and it was in 2017. Bitcoin was around 3,000. And I started talking about Bitcoin a little more vocally around maybe 2019. So I'd already been buying it and didn't think much about publicly even mentioning it so much until, things caught on as they did around the time of COOF, right? And even prior to COOF, 2019. And I noticed that every time I talked about it, there are few topics that bring out the idiocy, the stupidity, the hard-headed Dunning-Kruger just ignorance. Then the topic of Bitcoin, the topic of theology, and geopolitics. I can't think of anything else. I mean, I don't even think about politics because politics is low-tier, normie, dumb shit anyway. Meta politics, geopolitics, we talk about that, and that's what we're about to talk about here in a minute. But let's look at some of the dum-dums over the years and what they said and the way that they arrogantly talked smack. Here's one that did not age well. I'm pretty sure Orthodox Christians are disgusted with you, with your lust for greed. First of all, I can't have lust for greed because those are two separate sins in the 7 deadly sins list. I mean, it's just a dumb statement to begin with. So lust is one thing and greed is another thing. So maybe if he had said disgusted with your greed or disgusted with lust or something like that. But notice that he equates greed with cryptocurrency. Well, cryptocurrency is a cryptographic means of exchanging monetary value, mainly Bitcoin. So how would that equate to greed any more than any other means of exchanging value, such as assets or a currency? The currency that itself isn't greed. So this is really stupid. You are leading your followers astray. Bitcoin is a worthless scam. Oh, interesting. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin at the time of this tweet, 4/19/2021. Let's take a look at Bitcoin price. April 2021. So in April 2021, Bitcoin was near a previous cycle high of 59K. And I was misleading everyone with the worthless scam. Notice also the piety signaling here, right? That this person is far more virtuous and superior because he doesn't care about money, even though his name is Goldfield. Who believes Mr. Goldfield doesn't care at all about money? Does he work a job? Does he expect a raise? I'm going to bet he does care about money if he pays his bills. So it didn't go too well for Mr. Goldfield because even though that was a previous cycle top almost, Bitcoin has more than doubled, or basically doubled since then. So, no, I was correct and you were not correct. Philip or Voriolius says, I've heard this before. Friends of my brother claim that Bitcoin is created by a Japanese guy. So people think that Satoshi Nakamoto is actually a real Japanese guy. No, it's just a name. And no one knows who the original cyberpunk creators are. There's a lot of speculations. There's a lot of theories. My brother thinks that it was maintained by an AI that evolved 500 years beyond us. I like this theory, just how outlandish it is. But I don't think it's true. It's just wild, the stuff that people come up with. Why would we think that Bitcoin is a 500-year advanced AI that is doing what exactly? I mean, you can run a Bitcoin node. You know, you can do that on your own. How is it a 500-year advanced AI? It just makes no sense. Now, you're actually going to see that what I'm talking about is going to tie into Mission Impossible in a moment. Because I went back and watched Dead Reckoning 1 in anticipation of Dead Reckoning 2, which is out this Memorial Day weekend. The theater sold out today, so I'm not going to be able... I was going to go see it today, but it's sold out, so we'll have to wait until tomorrow or day after. But it was good to review because I actually missed some of the key elements in Dead Reckoning that are going to relate to today's topic, and particularly cryptocurrency. Of course, part 2, or Dead Reckoning, was all about cryptography, but I actually missed the references to cryptocurrencies. This person says, and these are old, like 5, 6, 7-year-old tweets that I thought were funny. Blockchain is terrain for AI monster. It's coming through Bitcoin. Bitcoin Sophia. So this guy thinks that that stupid robot that the Saudis developed. Remember that? Wasn't Sophia a Saudi thing? So this goes back to like 2016. Remember Sophia? And everybody was talking this up back at the time like it was like this dystopian thing. This thing was like lame as hell, dude. I mean, it didn't even hardly do anything, right? You guys remember this, right?
Sophia, why do you think...
Let's see what she says. Oh, this dude's going to call her out for being racist because she's got white skin.
You were designed as a Caucasian woman, and why not a man or a person of color or
a POC? Else? By the way, if an AI POC is talking, you sit down and listen.
Sophia robots are a platform for reflecting human diversity.
Dude, the mouth doesn't even move right. This is so lame, dude. This is the equivalent of... Look, she's got on her chest the same like Ubisoft Logitech camera that I have. That's like a $880 cheap-ass camera. And her lips move worse than the animatronics at Disneyland.
Which can be modified to help in different situations and promote different causes. Have you seen my older sister, Bina 48? She is the first African-American humanoid robot, and she is beautiful.
She is so beautiful. In fact, she's designed after a black lesbian who was married to a transgender Jewish billionaire. And that is beautiful. And if you disagree, it's because you are filled with hate. Zach 10A's, are you looking to invest a portion of your income? What about gold and silver? I don't care about gold and silver at all. Why would I want gold and silver when I sold all my gold in 2018 for Bitcoin? And that was the absolute wisest decision to have made in regard to... I basically in 2018 or 19, somewhere in there, sold all the gold that I had and got one entire Bitcoin then. So at about $10,000 worth of gold. I got one Bitcoin from that. We don't just have one Bitcoin. I'm just saying that was what I did at the time. And I 10x'd my money. So what would $10,000 worth of gold been from 2019 to now? Let's see. Would you rather make $100,000 or would you rather make $2,000? 1,000? Let's see. What was gold? No, 5 years. I just don't understand gold mine. Like the people who are obsessed with gold, I don't get what you guys are thinking. You have a boomer mind. We're not going to go to Spanish galleons. How many times do I have to make this joke? You think you're going to float around in your galleon with a conquistador and you're going to lug your chests of gold when you get to Thailand to pay at port for your ladies of the evening? I mean, what? It's just so stupid, dude. It's not the 1500s, bro. It's not Pirates of the Caribbean. Gold was $1,753. And it's what? Done a 2x in 5 years? Do I want a 10x or a 2x? I wonder. What's better? I don't know. You guys, I don't know. What do you guys think? Tuxedo Mask, $2. Did you ever argue any theology with Sam Hyde? Not argue. We had some interesting conversations because he's working on a project that integrated a lot of theology and metaphysics into a sci-fi-ish project, but we didn't debate it. When are we going to get Hollywood decoded to? Orthozowski, $2. I don't think there will ever be Hollywood decoded to because Gaia never ordered Hollywood decoded to. So the way it works, for those that don't know, I've explained it many times, is like if you do a full production TV show, you shoot a pilot with the studio shoots a pilot or a production company, and then they sell it to, this is the old way of, like, they sell it to networks. And the network either buys it or doesn't. So if they like your pilot or your promo shoot or your reel, they'll order a season. And then the production company gets paid. They film a season and then pay the people. So Gaia bought one season and then didn't buy a season 2 because they said it was too cerebral. So I don't think you'll ever get a season 2. Now, I guess we could do a season 2 on our own, but that's kind of what we do anyway. Anon, $5. Are icons important to you? What do you think of them? Yeah, I mean, I think every Orthodox person believes icons are windows to heaven are important. And we have an icon altar in there, as every home should have an icon altar. So absolutely. Brandon Turner, $3. For some reason, I was waiting for a priest to tell me they thought I was ready to be a catechumen. I think there's a symbiotic relationship. They're waiting on you to see if you're interested, and they're waiting to see whether you want to be. One guy told me to set up a meeting privately. I felt silly. I mean, I wouldn't feel silly about it. It's just, you know, if you're new to stuff, you're going to have questions. So no reason to feel silly. Messianic Australia, $8. Wait a minute. I thought we were living in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Do you believe in ghost stories? You must be believing in it. You're in one.
Right. Yes, you're in one. I wanted to split a chest of gold with Penelope Cruz. Very likely. Very likely to happen. EB, $2. Is 0.1 Bitcoin enough? There is no enough. Bitcoin will be going up forever. So, no. There is no enough Bitcoin. Now is the time when you can exchange your fiat. You will not always be able to unload fiat. Did you know that there's only enough Bitcoin in the world right now? If everyone tried to get a Bitcoin right now, there's only enough for everyone to get 0.0026. Now, we're not at that stage, right? Because there will always be markets and exchanges and people selling their Bitcoin. But as Bitcoin gets more and more normal and normative, more and used more and more, and becomes the world reserve currency, etc., when it flips gold's market cap, as it will. When it flips gold, we'll be at 20 trillion. Gold's 20 trillion. And then when Bitcoin flips gold, that's a 10x from here. So 100,000 Bitcoin, $100,000 Bitcoin will be $1 million Bitcoin when we 10x. And as that increases, there's a supply crunch because more and more nations, more and more corporations, more and more entities, individuals, states are trying to get it. And there's not enough Bitcoin out there. That's what drives the price up. So it's not just the limited supply. It's also the limited availability that drives up during a supply crunch, basically. So that's how we get to more and more higher. That's how we get to the higher valuations, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, just think of it like a 10x every 5 years, basically, is what it's done. That doesn't mean for sure that it will. It might take 10 years to get another 5x in the future, because it will sort of eventually sort of even out. I don't think we're always going to be seeing 10x's every 5 years, but we probably will be seeing 10x's in the next 5, 10, 15 years, and then it'll probably sort of even out. So there you go. And I like how this guy added on to his DMT bro speculations on Bitcoin here. The world is an illusion. It's all mental, man. That's why it's governmental. Get it? So we got some Jordan Maxwell level word trickery with this guy. And then nobody can forget the classic Dan Pena, the boomer of boomers. Bitcoin was created by Putin and is a Russian conspiracy. Probably one of the all-time stupidest statements I've ever heard. The most boomer statement of all time ever. Bitcoin is a Putin conspiracy. Yes, you heard me right. I say all that to say that we will also be covering some cool books in the near future after I finish Max Blumenthal's book, which we're going to talk about the first few chapters of that, which overall pretty good. I have a few criticisms of it, but then we're going to talk about some other espionage related texts. We're going to talk about the rest of part 2 of Whitney Webb's Jeff Stein McEffery book. And then I'd like to get to Saifuddin's famous book, Bitcoin Standard. So we'll probably be covering those in the near future. If you like this discussion, hit like and share. And somebody just sent me this, and everybody's saying, oh, you got to watch this, you got to watch this. Okay, I want to see it. Because Jubilee brought JBP on to talk about Christianity, and a lot of people are complaining because Jordan Peterson isn't actually really a Christian. And that's true, but people need to realize that that's not what governs podcasts. Okay, they brought Jordan Peterson on because Jordan Peterson's going to get 1 million views, and me or some other random person is not going to get that. Now, granted, I think they brought some lesser known people on before already, but I messaged him and said, hey, I'd be glad to come on. No, it's got to be a person who's not even a Christian, which is odd. But guys, that's how the internet works. People do things for audience and for click and for money. Shocker. It's not because of altruism and virtue and authenticity. That's not how media works. I don't know if this is a news flash to a lot of y'all, but the internet works like old media worked, on hype and clicks and money.
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
Somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are very
How do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is...
So Jubilee invites the guy on to debate Christianity who just said, I didn't say I was a Christian. So this tells me that the people that run Jubilee aren't the brightest people, but they are wanting the clicks for sure.
Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are.
He doesn't know?
right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and
I don't know. Don't be a smartass. I mean, this kid is correct that this was supposed to be Christian versus 20 atheists or however the show works.
Either you're a
'cause I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you if you're a smartass.
Either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You
I messaged the Jubilee people saying I'd be happy to come on. It's like, it's almost like a lot of these podcasts and sites and like they want just the same old just stuff. It's the nicest way I could put it. Anyway.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Ooh, owned. I mean, I never thought I would actually like agree with some weirdo college leftist, but this is probably the first time that they've ever made an actual good point in a debate. I've never seen a college leftist weirdo actually make a good point in a debate, but I mean, that was just bizarre. But here we are. This is the world we're in. Anyway, moving on. Briefly, we're going to talk about Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible, only because it's the big movie that's out, and I guess boomers are going back to movies now. Gen X and boomers, I guess, because younger people don't watch movies, right? But Gen X and boomers watch movies. So somehow they've been convinced to go back to the theater now. I wish I could see
this can't all be true.
Tom Cruise hanging from something and running. Are there any movies out where I could see him run and hang from something? Oh, there happens to be part 2 of Dead Reckoning. Final Reckoning. Just a little bit of a refresher because I thought it was very subtle that when I went back and watched Dead Reckoning after doing a pretty extensive Lord Voldemort hour on it last year. I found my Lord Voldemort hour, by the way, and it was pretty good. By the way, I've uploaded that to today's X. I'm not going to rehash all of that because I did get pretty deep in that analysis, and then Jamie and I did a breakdown of the entire Mission Impossible series, I think a year ago as well. So you can go watch that. But right here, I uploaded... This is still broken. Twitter is still not working right because it's only showing tweets from like 5 days ago or 2 days ago, which is weird. Anyway, you can go on my Twitter feed and you can eventually, when they fix it, find today's upload of the full analysis of Dead Reckoning. And the reason I'm talking about Dead Reckoning is that it had quite a bit of fascinating propaganda and predictive programming. If you don't recall, you've got a film that begins with a Russian submarine that has some sort of advanced big globe object in it, which we think, oh, maybe this is a nuke. Turns out it's an AI. It's an advanced AI called the Entity. And the access to this entity is split between 2 keys. I didn't even catch that this is multi-sig when I was watching it the first time. If you don't know, in cryptocurrencies, cryptography, this idea of especially businesses or big companies, if they're going to be handling large transactions and large amounts of money or crypto, they set up what's called a multi-sig or a multi-signature way to have multiple people having to confirm a transaction. That way one person can't send the entire, stash of Bitcoin or whatever. It's a more secure way to do the cryptography and the private keys. But in this situation, the AI is multi-sig because you can't have people accessing this superpower. There's some stupid stuff in this where the AI becomes supposedly sentient, but it's interesting because we're hearing the AI is sentient, right? That's what's going on now. I don't believe this. Tucker just had that Sean Ryan guy on, and they were discussing and debating, is it now sentient? Friday's show of Lord Voldemort, which he seemed to really enjoy, was covered right here. If you go to my Twitter, I'll give you the link. Follow me if you don't. I did a full hour-long breakdown of AI as the AI demon. Now, I don't actually believe AI is a demon, but I'm likening it to the demonic in the sense that you've got transhumanists like Noah Yuval Harari, you've got Vervaeke and others talking about silicon sages, and they will kind of be our walking deities and avatars. People will accept a deus ex machina, God from within the system, which is the oracle of the AI. And so that's what I ended up talking about in the Friday show. We got a pretty good showing there, almost 500,000 views on that from Lord Voldemort. Appreciate that. And then he did a Saturday show and talked about how much he really liked this fourth hour. So appreciate him saying that he thought it was super insightful. And I went into, in the fourth hour, or excuse me, the third book of the C.S. Lewis trilogy, space trilogy, talking about how aliens are demons in C.S. Lewis's story. And Lord Voldemort was impressed with that. He said he had read 2 of them, but had not read the third one when he was a kid. Isaiah says for $5, that's Danny, an atheist. He's like 35 years older. You talking about the guy arguing with Peterson? What does that mean? 35 years older than what? You mean Peterson's 35 years old? I don't know what that means. Anyway, to go back to this, they say in the film that the AI in Dead Reckoning is a active learning AI that is, quote, sentient. That's the director for national intelligence, and the CIA and the military and the Pentagon all say, oh, it's become alive. Oh, it's the entity. They call it the entity. Because it's been data collecting for the last 30 years or whatever, since the internet has existed in the Tom Coon world. I know that the internet's older than that, but in the world of Mission Impossible, they say, oh, it's been watching us for decades. And a lot of people forget that if you go back to the original, the Brian De Palma version, which is a really excellent, well-made film, I believe. Brian De Palma has quite a few really good films that we've broken down. And part of the reason I'm doing this too is that in Esoteric Hollywood 3, I do a whole section on all the Mission Impossible. So we do a full esoteric geopolitical breakdown of Mission Impossible 1 all the way to Dead Reckoning. And if you've never seen the Brian De Palma version, it's excellent. It's really well done. And this guy had a pretty good breakdown of the cinematography. But who remembers that it's actually about AI? So all the way back in 1995 or whenever, 96, when the first one came out, maybe 97, the whole thing is about Tom Coon and his team getting this special AI chip that the CIA has under some sort of, super secret, cover at Langley. And so that's, of course, Tom Coombs famous sneaking in, he's sort of hanging there, that kind of thing, right? That was all to get this AI chip. So we fast forward from Mission Impossible 1 in 1995, 6, whatever it was, 30 years ago, all the way to now. And we returned to the theme of AI, but AI has now advanced from the 1990s till now to be this quasi-sentient entity, they call it, that has engaged in reconnaissance for the last several years on human beings. And now it knows all of our proclivities, all of our likely choices in any given scenario. So the point of the film is that it gives its owners and controllers and handlers an upper hand in terms of predictive future algorithmic programming. So in other words, it can tell you with 96% likelihood that, if this happens, this person will be, voting Democrat, something like that. And that is too powerful for anyone to have. And so the CIA and the Pentagon want it. There is the rogue Antonio Banderas looking dude who's after it. The thief, the criminal syndicates are after it. There's British intelligence that wants it. On and on and on. All these different factions and groups want to get a hold of this super advanced AI. But you can never stop Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise has infinite masks and he can always rip off another mask and be another Tom Cruise and another character in the movie. Give me the rabbit's foot. I want the rabbit's foot. I'm going to hurt her. I'm going to find her. I'm going to hurt her. I want the rabbit's foot. Give me the rabbit's foot. I was hoping for a mask of Philip Seymour Hoffman, but I guess he's not going to appear because I want to know about the rabbit's foot. But we forgot about the rabbit's foot. Now we want the keys to this AI. In a lot of Tom Cruise films, you also have the pattern as well of him being the sort of rebel figure who goes against the imprisoning deity, the demiurge, the archon, and Tom Cruise always represents this rebel angel who overthrows the imprisoning archontic deity. Yes, there is a neo-Gnostic component all the time in Tom Cruise movies, especially in the IMF series. And likewise here, there's a scene even where Rebecca Ferguson, Ilsa Faust, she calls him, Tom Cruise, the incarnation of the angel of chaos or something to that effect, right? She calls him this, fighting the demiurge. And so just like the AI is intent on total predictive determinism and having absolute certainty about the outcome in any free choice, instance to remove free will, we get the idea that Tom Cruise is the agent of chaos interjected into the system to disrupt that determinism and give man true free will and freedom from this imprisoning AI. Very much a Gnostic mythos. So I did appreciate, not so much all the Gnostic stuff, but I did appreciate a lot of the nods to the earlier installments of Mission Impossible. But I didn't notice the first time through, and you can go watch the deeper symbolic breakdowns that we did. I didn't notice the references to the Cypherpunk stuff. I mean, I remember that Ving Rhames' character is called Phineas Freak. And this refers back to phone phreaking, which is a thing in the 80s and 90s that early hackers would do, where you could hack into phone lines and do certain dial tones that would actually trigger certain responses from the NSA and the Pentagon and all this kind of stuff. It had to do with NSA spy type stuff, like number station type stuff. And the early hackers were into this. They thought it was really neat to do this kind of stuff. And I remember years ago, Lord Voldemort used to have one of the early phone phreakers on. I think his name was Captain Crunch. But this was the phase of doing this before the phase of the cypherpunks. And that's where we actually get Bitcoin, which is interesting because that comes out of Adam Back and the people in those circles who were, I think Assange was in the circles of the cypherpunks too. So there's a clear reference to the cypherpunks with Phineas Freak, Ving Rhames being the hacker, and phone phreaking. And then at a certain point, I just totally missed this. The girl, the new British girl, I forget her name, but she's sort of going to replace Ilsa Faust, who got killed in the last one. She's getting paid in crypto. And at the end, the CIA director is going to give her $100 million in crypto if she hands over her half of the key, because she's a thief, right? And the assumption is that she could be just bought off. But there's this continual play throughout the film on cryptocurrencies and that's the money of the future, just like flashback to 1995 or 6, whenever Mission Impossible 1 came out. What was the whole movie about that everyone's forgotten? AI. So 30 years ago, Mission Impossible 1 was all about AI and AI chips. Nobody knew what AI was in 1996 or 7, 5, 6, 7, other than what we saw in movies and what we read in science fiction stories, right? So we thought, oh, it's going to be so crazy in 2025 when we have Skynet and we have AI, right? Everybody just thought of it in terms of the movie imagery, Skynet, that kind of stuff. Here we are in 2025, and AI has now been rolled out. And what does the latest Mission Impossible have as its subtle theme this time around? Well, it's obviously about AI, but it's about cryptocurrencies. Now, many cryptos are related to AI. Bitcoin is not directly related to AI, so I don't know where some weirdos on the internet get this idea, but Bitcoin is also not equivalent to cryptos, right? Cryptos are other types of tokenized digital assets or whatever, and Bitcoin is a monetary protocol. So those are two different things, just like email is a protocol. But I think it's very interesting, if you pay attention to this film, that the theme of this film is all about cryptocurrencies, AI, and the future. And whoever has the upper hand in terms of this technology will dominate the future. So we don't know where it's going to go in part 2. Obviously, Tom Coombe is going to have to save us from this Gnostic, archontic, controlling, determinist tech deity. They call it the entity. But regardless, apart from the actual movie, I think it's telling us where the future is going in terms of currency as well. And we got a super chat from Orthozowski, $5. I worked with tech for a decade. Thanks to you, I'm now familiar with Orthodox theology. I think it's impossible for AI to become sentient. Do you have any thoughts on that? Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that the arguments presented in the famous paper, Minds, Machines, Gödel, proves that. So this is, I think it's at Oxford. And it just sort of argues from sort of a strange loop slash reductionist position, right? I mean, it's not, the paper's not reductionist. It's saying that to think that the paper used to come up. Now I can't get the paper with the actual paper. Yeah, here we go. Like, you can never get out of this reductionist loop in a Gödelian knot, right? Without self-referencing or without referencing outside the system. So to say that a bunch of code could become sentient is to mess the whole point of what it means to be self-aware and to be sentient. No, a bunch of numbers doesn't become sentient. This is totally stupid, but this is what most people believe. Most people believe in the evolutionary mythos. They believe in the mystical, magical worldview of evolution, that matter just suddenly pops into having self-awareness and consciousness. And if you believe that, then why can't a bunch of numbers just suddenly start talking and being self-aware? Right? It's that stupid, but this is what normies believe. Delio Pera, $10. My wife and I are now Orthodox inquirers. What are questions we should ask our priest? What connection do you see between a Bitcoin's decentralization and Eastern Orthodoxy? I mean, just in the sense of being decentralized. So I wouldn't say there's any necessary connection between Bitcoin and Orthodoxy per se, although I do think that Bitcoin is ethical money. It's similar in structure to the system of Orthodoxy, the system of Bitcoin, the network being decentralized. The network of Orthodoxy is decentralized. It's not totally decentralized because it has a hierarchy of bishops, but there's no bishop that's more of a bishop than another bishop. The questions that you should ask your priest, I mean, I would just be aware if he says anything about all the religions being the same or Skittles stuff. Those would be the warning signs. Welcome to some of the new subscribers that have subscribed. Appreciate you guys. Reginald sends $5 and says, who would win in a fight, 100 evangelicals or a Calvinist guerrilla? A Calvinist guerrilla, because he, number one, is mean, and number two, evangelicals are, many of them are soy. All right. So that is all the fun stuff today. And I did want to talk some about Max Blumenthal's book, Management of Savagery, because it's another useful addition to the glowing library that I have of Middle Eastern espionage books, treatises, and works. And I'm about, I don't know, maybe the first 70 pages in, the first few chapters. So it is an interesting text. It's got some good insights. And what usually happens with a lot of these kinds of books in the geopolitical sphere is that you get this guy's piece of the picture here. And then this other guy's book that's sort of the same domain gives you another picture that this book lacked. And then another book gives you another picture. So the more of these that you read, you're able to kind of put together more of the puzzle pieces. It doesn't mean you see the whole piece perfectly, but every one of these texts usually, even for their flaws, adds a significant amount of new information. So this would be in the vein of Mark Curtis's Secret Affairs, Dreyfus's Devil's Game, and Gould and Fitzgerald's Invisible History of Afghanistan. And I'm sure there's others that we could mention as well that have covered this. We just finished, of course, in terms of this domain, John Stockwell's book on CIA operations in Angola, and we did that when we were in on our LA Vegas trip. But now I want to talk about management of savagery, and I would give it so far a B. I would not give him an A because he's going to get into critiquing the Big Nine truth movement. And I feel like his critiques there kind of went sour in chapter 3. And he goes after Lord Voldemort. I don't think he was fair to Lord Voldemort. In fact, I'm just getting out of the way. There's only two places I really have a criticism of Blumenthal's book. He sort of makes fun of, quote, CHEMTRAILS. Well, Max, I'm not sure if you're aware, but RFK Jr. is actually working right now to ban geoengineering. That means it's real. You don't ban something that's not real. You don't have states passing laws against things that aren't real. So that was a cheap shot to, quote, make fun of CHEMTRAILS when it's now well known. I mean, you realize John Brennan has publicly talked about it at the Council on Foreign Relations meetings. He's been up on a stage talking about it. So this is not a made-up thing. I put this topic in my second book almost 10 years ago. I've been talking about geoengineering for about 10 years, and I knew about it back in about the first time I heard about this, 2007. It was like atmospheric aerosol engineering. It's not a made-up thing. Dr. Edward Teller of the Manhattan Project is also the father of atmospheric aerosol engineering. You can go look this up. It just drives me crazy when public intellectuals who are otherwise pretty good don't know that geoengineering is real. And there's quite a few of these, by the way, even to this day. So, I will say that is one criticism I have. It's odd to me that he's not aware of that. And the other criticism I have is that the book is written from the perspective of kind of a normie progressive leftist, but enough of a progressive left perspective that's at least able to go into the nitty-gritty of CIA, FBI use of Islamic cults, sects, handlers, assets. So it's pretty good in terms of details and information about the history of, say, the Saudi relationship to CIA support. So the Saudis had a huge role in teaming up with the CIA to fund bin Laden. And that was a really good chapter. The book begins, by the way, with the Brzezinski plan in 1979 to lay a trap for the Soviets, and the trap worked. So this trap of 1979 to get the Soviets bogged down in Afghanistan such that eventually the Soviet Union would be overextended and collapse was successful. And he begins by talking about the relationship of the Pakistani ISI, that's the origins really of Mujahideen as well as out of Afghanistan. He talks about the plan under Brzezinski, Carter, Gates. He even mentions the Phoenix program, which is a good insight because we did a whole lecture through Douglas Valentine's book on the Phoenix program. So he's correct to identify the U.S. strategy of how to set up and run a lot of these Mujahideen and Jihadi training camps out of the School of the Americas and out of Phoenix program. At the end of Douglas Valentine's book, he says that the same Phoenix program was exported to train the School of the Americas people and to train the Mujahideen. So notice that there's a pretty consistent pattern of how to utilize proxy armies, proxy forces, in a very effective way that is also part of Gladio, right? So Gladio did this as well. Some of the same people that trained people in Gladio also went to train the Contras. So the first chapter was really well done and really well sourced. It, as I said, is about Saudi and CIA support for the anti-Soviet moves in Afghanistan, and really it's 1984 when we get the rise and the preeminence of Osama, and he was influenced by a Egyptian cleric. I believe he was Egyptian. Let's see, named Azam, I think is this guy's name. So he fell under the spell of a very powerful Egyptian preacher who was Wahhabi. And this Wahhabi cleric was very influenced by, yes, so I'll read this. It says, Wahhabi clerics like Ibn Taymiyyah, the medieval scholar, laid the basis for the Takfiri doctrine. Meanwhile, in Jeddah, Azam instructed a young Osama bin Laden in Wahhabi Ibn Taymiyyah doctrines. So you may recall, when we debated Jake the Muslim metaphysician, Jake was committed to this strict Wahhabist Ibn Taymiyyah branch of Islam. Now, had I done the debate with Ridvan, right, the apostate prophet debate, it would have gone in this direction. I would have started with not just Blumenthal's book, but with what's called NSD 166. So if we wanted to demonstrate, and by the way, I'm only covering the first few chapters. We're not even going to, this is the tip of the iceberg, okay? Let's see if we can pull up NSD 166, which is the declassified document, the official Operation Cyclone. And this is the decision on the part of the CIA and the White House, the Pentagon, to fund Operation Cyclone in 1980. This was, I guess, declassified years later, but is this the actual, National Security Decision Directive 166. This is Operation Cyclone. And as you can see, it is about training and arming and funding the Mujahideen via ISI, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. And that will be the proxy army force to fight and to exhaust the Soviet Union. Now, for those that don't know, the Mujahideen were called the freedom fighters. That's because in the 1980s, They were the allies of the U.S. In fact, they were so much the allies that they were invited to the White House. And there is the famous photo of President Reagan. And you can see this is at the Reagan Library, or they're not going to show the picture. All right, well, let's go over here. This photo op of Reagan and the Mujahideen, the great freedom fighters. They are going to fight and save us from the great Satan of the USSR, right? The atheist Soviet Union. And that's where we get Brzezinski, right? He flies over there. I played the clip 1,000 times from CBS, and Brzezinski says to the Mujahideen, "That is your land. God has given it to you." Using them as a proxy force. Now, for those that don't know, what comes out of the Mujahideen? There's a entity that you might have heard of called Al-Qaeda. The word Al-Qaeda means the base. What's the base? It's the base where Osama bin Laden trained Mujahideen. Hence Al-Qaeda. Okay. So our proxy army at this time, and by the way, this was also known as Charlie Wilson's War. They made movies about this. Through Operation Cyclone was the means by which we fought this army through, not our people, but through proxy soldiers. They were funded through the Asia Foundation, which was a CIA cutout. Now, again, all of this is public information and now well known. So understand that none of this is conspiracy theorizing. If you talked about this back in the 80s and 90s, you were a conspiracy theorist, even though this is all now public, declassified information. The CIA and the Pakistani ISI, for example, armed the other jihad figure named Hekmatyar. And he was armed to the teeth through his entity called Hezbollah Islam. Hezbollah Islam. They used the Asia Foundation to fund this guy. In fact, even Margaret Thatcher joined in this PSYOP and pledged of British taxpayer money $4 million to aid the Mujahideen and Hekmatyar. The gallant and noble people of Afghanistan, they called it at this time. So you've got Reagan, Thatcher, all these people joining together in this giant PSYOP. They go and meet with President Zia of Pakistan, who they're all like hardcore Islamic fundamentalists. And yeah, well, of course we're going to give you millions and millions of dollars of aid. This is also when Rambo and James Bond. Did you know Rambo, they've erased this, but the movie Rambo was dedicated to who? The valiant freedom fighters of the Mujahideen. I have not watched Rambo 3. I just know that it's about this, and so is, I think it's Living Daylights, the Bond film. In Living Daylights, Timothy Dalton literally fights with Bin Laden. Like, the character is totally 100% obviously based on Bin Laden, at least as far as I can tell. But I'm told that the end credits have erased this, by the way, because it's kind of embarrassing. But let's see if it's, I'm pretty sure it's Living Daylights. The Living Daylights. Yes. So there's Timothy Dalton riding around with the Mujahideen. And I forget this character's name, but this character is basically, he's called Kamran Shah, but he's basically Bin Laden in the movie, if you've never seen it. So both movies in the 1980s were literally portraying the Mujahideen as the freedom fighters. Of course, British intelligence obviously is part of this as well. Clearly with Thatcher, right? Another character that I didn't know was involved in this was John McCain. I didn't know John McCain also played a big role in pushing and promoting a lot of this stuff at that time as well. because McCain was part of and closely associated with the World Anti-Communist League. Now, you might think, well, we don't like communism, so isn't the World Anti-Communist League good guys? It's just a neocon thing, right? It's literally John McCain's just neocon nonsense. So it's not really about fighting communism. It's about fighting Sovietism for the purpose of bringing in neoconservatism, which is not even conservatism. So don't be fooled by the names of these institutions. But I didn't actually know that John McCain was a big player in this, but that actually explains why John McCain was so intent on going to the Ukraine and being pictured with the Tiny Mustache Man followers in the Ukraine. Right here. In fact, John McCain goes over there and before he had died, pushing all of these goobers like this person and Azov people, right? Oh, you see, when Washington supports this, it's good. But anyone else that talks about this stuff, oh, you're an evil right-winger, from the system's perspective. So notice the hypocrisy of the system to push Tiny Mustache Man in Ukraine for the purpose of proxy war, at the same time as everyone in America is Tiny Mustache. This is the Democratic regime, right? Obama and all this is happening under Obama, who's demonizing all of the conservatives in America as Tiny Mustache Men. And now we've gotten to the stage where on Twitter, I do a debate the other day with all the Tiny Mustache Men followers, who none of them know any of this. It's just like crazy world. I was writing and talking about this at the time, 11 years ago, 2014, when the Ukraine stuff happened. But I'm sure the 20-year-olds who think that they're following Tiny Mustache Man are going to tell me how it all really works. Emperor Palpatine, $2. How do laymen determine what is right in jurisdictions? I don't think that you have to worry about, as a layman, the jurisdictional squabbles until you're forced to worry about it. But, I mean, this is what the EP supports. I mean, how is it not obvious to people that this is a fake CIA cutout thing in Ukraine? And so is the church that they set up. They even admit it. It was on their Twitter profile that they set up this church. I'm talking about the State Department had a Twitter post congratulating the schismatic church in Ukraine. All right, so moving on in Blumenthal's text, he goes on to discuss, I mean, do people not just, I guess people just can't, people are just too stupid. Everybody's just too dumb, and they want to be dumb, and they just want to believe whatever they want to believe. They don't care what's true, they just want to believe whatever they want. Okay, fine. Yeah, keep being poor, keep saying Bitcoin's a scam, have fun. You saw the dum-dums 5 years ago saying that to me. I just showed you their tweets. How did those age? And how are you same dum-dums calling me whatever? How's it going to be in 5 years when I'm retired because there's another 10x and you're just sitting there on the internet calling me dumb all day? Okay, we'll see. We'll see. We'll look at the tweets in 5 years and see. Apparently in 1985, I didn't know this either, there was a, supposedly the right made a mosque go pop in Norway. Now, who did this? Well, it turns out it was a group of volunteers for Tiny Mustache Men entities, shall we say, who popped a mosque. Now, how stupid is this, right? How stupid do you have to be to engage in activities just like the guy that went after the people at the Israeli embassy the other day? Like, it's so obvious that this aids people who would want war with Iran. Why would you do that? It's so stupid. Likewise, I don't know. I just learned about this event the other day. But anytime I see the Tiny Mustache Men followers, I immediately think Fed run group, right? It almost always is. And that's why we had that 5-hour debate on my Twitter feed over this. And there were only 2 people who had actually done any reading that called in. Out of about 50 people I debated, only 2 of them had actually done any reading. None of them had read any of Quigley's text, which is what I was arguing from. What does that tell you? The right-wing National Popular Front Party made this pop happen, supposedly. Which apparently was 80 people. That doesn't look like a mosque, though, by the way. I thought he said it was a mosque. Norway saw its first right-wing tea attack with the pop of the Nor Mosque in Oslo. This guy? Well, what's interesting about that is that means they were pushing Muslims into these Nordic countries all the way back in the 1980s. That's crazy. I didn't realize that this was happening in the 1980s, right? And it's supposedly this young goober who probably believed the Tiny Mustache Men propaganda that he was sold. This doesn't look like a picture from the 80s, though. This looks like something else. What is this? This is the dude from is this the New Zealand thing? What is this? No, this is something different. This is 2 different things. Oh, this is two different events. There was a recent one and an 80s one. I'm trying to find the 80s one. This doesn't look like a mosque, though. Doesn't make any sense. This is getting confused in the algorithm with the Breivik event, too. So, let's see. Anyway. This is what leftists often miss. For example, in Blumenthal's text, he talks about the 1979 Afghanistan situation caused population demographic replacement. Yeah, but population demographic replacement is also part of the overall strategy, which no leftist wants to admit. He points out that a lot of the Muslims that have been imported into these other countries are all basically indoctrinated into Ibn Taymiyyah theology. One of the key figures that is a constant mainstay who is a known CIA asset is, of course, the Blind Sheikh. So we have to talk about him because he's such a obvious sort of shady oddball character. This guy... who even the mainstream news calls an asset, right? Abdel Rahman. Now, I know the article there says the FBI informers warned about him, but the reason that he continued to be able to do what he was doing is precisely because he was also a CIA operative in the Afghanistan Mujahideen situation. So he was recruited back then, and they let him go and recruit. You can't make this up. a jihadi sleeper cell in Silicon Valley. So the Blind Sheikh in the I think this is the 90s, or late 80s, early 90s, is allowed to go into a lecture tour, this goofball, in Silicon Valley, and he sets up a sleeper cell. By the way, the reason that I'm talking about this is all where we get Al-Qaeda. Okay, so Blumenthal has taken us through the evolution of Mujahideen into Al-Qaeda. But the Blind Sheikh has a handler, a character who is his mentor, his leader, and that is a figure you probably heard of. The Egyptian physician Ayman al-Zawahiri, the supposed number 2 in Al-Qaeda. Now, the funny thing, the reason that people, for those of you that are new to this subject matter, that don't know this stuff, or you've not heard of any of this, the reason that people are so adamant about questioning Big Nine is because of these types of details. Now, there's many, many more details. These are just a few pieces of the picture, okay? But the Blind Sheikh, right? Let me read this. So Ali Muhammad, you're going to get confused on the names, by the way, is the Blind Sheikh. I believe that's right. I think his name is Omar Abdel Rahman. Let me read this. He says, it's difficult to keep up with all the different Muslim names or Islamic names, to be honest with you. I mean, these Arab names are just like, good luck keeping up with it. Okay, so Zawahiri is the handler to the Blind Sheikh, Rahman. And then there's another figure called Ali Muhammad, I guess, who was trained at Fort Bragg and the farm. Okay. And in 1988, Muhammad informed his army and superiors that he would take his leave in Afghanistan, where he planned to go after as many Russians as possible. Before long, he was on his way into the Services Bureau in Peshawar. This is the ISI, Afghanistan Freedom Fighter Mujahideen Front. And then he would cross the Afghan border to rendezvous with his handler, al-Zawahiri. He would also meet with other jihadists, including the Egyptian El Said Nosser. Muhammad returned to his unit at Fort Bragg, bearing the belt of a Russian soldier that he had killed. He talks about the Afghan trap of Brzezinski again. He says the Afghan jihad spreads from in the 1980s and 90s to Egypt, Algeria, and the Philippines. In the Philippines, there was a jihadi that had been trained and set up named Abu Sayyaf. And, that's not his name. Let me see what his name is. Maybe this is Hekmatyar. Let's see. I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing of all this is to keep up with these names. No, excuse me. So this is a crazy ass name. Excuse me. Abu Sayyaf is an organization that the ISI and the CIA, Pakistani ISI and the CIA, are using to train people for the Philippine jihad. You can't make this up. The Philippine jihadi is named Abdu Rajik Akubakar Jan Jalani. You heard me right. A Filipino jihadi who joined the Abu Sayyaf terror group, which is the ISI-CIA front. It was the most violent and radical of all the Islamist groups in the Far East, using its CIA-ISI training to harass, attack, and murder Roman Catholic priests in the Philippines, as well as wealthy non-Muslim plantation owners throughout the Philippines and the island of Mindanao. Reports at this time branded Abu Sayyaf, these names, dude, Abu Sayyaf, a quote CIA monster that the CIA had created. the most ruthless jihadi organization of this time. In Bosnia, where some 3,000 Islamic fundamentalists had been trained to fight against the Serbs, Senator Jesse Helms, who was a member of the World Anti-Communist League, and powerful Senate Foreign Relations Committee members said that this was the time to treat the Bosnians as we treated the Contras and the Mujahideen, that is, the Bosnian freedom fighters. So you understand this will then spread also to Kosovo and the KLA, which was another one of these CIA cutout things that they were funding and aiding and abetting. At this time, it is the first known media mention of an interview with Bin Laden. This is the early 90s. 1995 report is one of the first mentions of Bin Laden in American media. And if you don't know, I mentioned this on Twitter. There was a British, I think it's a Telegraph, 1991 or 2. The Telegraph did a giant piece on Bin Laden right here. Excuse me, the London Independent. First ever interview with Bin Laden in 1993. And he's a hero. Look at that. Once again, Western media is showing Osama as still a hero. The Saudis and the Bin Laden networks, the Al-Qaeda networks, had set up a bunch of charity fronts, one of which was called Benevolence International. And keep that in mind because that will continue to be used as a front for funding the jihadi activities. What was originally called Al-Jihad was changed in its name to Al-Qaeda, and it was run by Bin Laden and the Egyptian Al-Zawahiri. So these are the leaders of early Al-Qaeda. The reason that they were successful was that Bin Laden had a very popular and wealthy funder who believed in these ideologies. That would be Prince Bandar of Saudi Arabia. And so let's look up who is promoting the jihad. I think it's... a lot of these guys will have like the same name. So it would be back in the 80s. Probably Prince Bandar bin Sultan. So probably this one. Yeah, the guy with the mustache. Yeah. So keep in mind that Saudi Arabia, as you guys know, being essentially a British imperial creation, had always had this close alliance and relationship with the West, with the CIA, and with the Israelis, and hence why you don't typically get, as the Israelis themselves say, Al-Qaeda ever going after Israel, because there's a close relationship between these entities. But this is, as we said, where we get the origin of what we know of as Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda did not like the PLO. The PLO was seen as a secular, stabilizing Arab force under Arafat, and this is precisely why both Israel and the Saudis didn't like it. They saw it as heresy, it's apostate, it's not, real Islam. But Al-Qaeda does not ever dislike Israel, which tells you something. There were some assassinations early on. I think one of the early leaders of Al-Qaeda named Azam was removed. It's unclear who was involved in that, and that allows Zawahiri and Bin Laden to really take over. Interestingly, the CIA toppled Hosni Mubarak, if you recall. I didn't know this, but Mubarak was consistently calling out the Blind Sheikh and some of these other jihadis as assets and operatives of the CIA. that might have contributed to his toppling. Speaking of admissions, Max Blumenthal cites the Boston Globe admitting in the 90s. In the 1995 report, the Boston Globe admitted that Abdel Rahman was a CIA operative and asset. So the Blind Sheikh is admitted in the Boston Globe in 1995 to be a CIA operative and asset. Abdel Rahman's first order of business was to take control of Brooklyn's Al-Qifa Center. This was a front for gaining money and recruits. Al-Qifa was the remnant of Azam's older CIA and Saudi-backed Services Bureau. It was a foreign fighters recruiting operation, and they were seeking to get rid of Mubarak in Egypt. And also the Services Bureau could be used perhaps as future operations against Iran. So notice they dislike Iran just like Israel dislikes Iran. I'm not saying that makes Iran the good guys. I'm just pointing out why there's at times an alliance between Saudis and Israel, and Al-Qaeda and Israel versus Iran. But you'll notice too that the attitude that the media knows that Americans are stupid and they can't sift through all these different groups. So they know that they can pin, they can do a big night event, say it's Al-Qaeda, and then in the mind of all the Americans, it's all Islam is one giant unified entity that did it through Al-Qaeda, not even realizing that Iran and Al-Qaeda are enemies. Interesting side note, there was a Rabbi Meir Kahan who was a Likudnik radical, wanted to build a third temple type guy, who infiltrated the John Birch Society in the 1950s and 60s, and then is one of the first Jewish anti-Black Panther operatives out there. And this is where you get this agitation back at the time between like Malcolm X and these figures, and like Stokely Carmichael and people that were involved in the Black Panthers opposed to the Zionists. And out of that, and Jews, out of that you get some of today's even Black Hebrew Israelite groups also influenced by some of this Nation of Islam, idiotic, crazy theology. But a jihad character named Noser unalived Rabbi Meir Kahan, who was the radical Zionist, and this actually promoted a lot of sympathy for some of today's Knesset laws. So this is what's so weird, is that people who think engaging in these radical activities is going to further their cause, all it does is make you look dumb. Straight white male, $10. My brother is hyper-Calvinist. I pinned him down on God willing sin and creation, but he reverses saying that we can't understand God's will, and then he goes to Romans 9. Well, you need to go after him on something more like effective, like Christology. So read the Christological Controversy book. Sorry, this is off topic, but his argument is that Augustine was a Calvinist. No, Augustine believed in apostasy, baptismal regeneration, the real presence. He was a bishop. Augustine believed in cooperation between the human will and the divine will. He talks about operative and cooperative grace. That's not Calvinism. So your friend is misinformed and should actually go read Calvin himself, which is what I did when I was 20, 21, and that led me out of Calvinism. So moving into the next phase of this management of savagery, he goes on to talk about the chapter that brings the era that brings us the Gulf War. Saddam Hussein invades Kuwait in 1991, and this kicks off the Gulf War because the Saudis and Osama bin Laden don't like Saddam and his secular Ba'athist party getting access to this region, because then he could go after Saudi Arabia. This is when suddenly Osama bin Laden decides that the great Satan that was the USSR in 1990 is suddenly the United States in 1991. And so Osama bin Laden starts saying and talking about anti-US rhetoric at this time. Suddenly the Cold War is shifted into the war on tea, as everyone knows. And wouldn't it be nice if we had some nice big tea events in the 1990s to kick off the war on tea? And what do we get? Well, we get OKC, which is right-wing, with the obvious nonsensical Elohim City run by feds. And we get the 1993 WTC event, which was also essentially connected to a federal informant, Imad Salam. I think it's interesting that Blumenthal has a great point about the PSYOP that was set up, that's now admitted and known PSYOP, of the Free Kuwait movement and the Naira girl who went on the media tour to talk about and cry about throwing babies from incubators. Okay, this is what the dumb American public believed in 1991 to get everybody to support the efforts against Saddam in 1991. So just think about how sophisticated people have become. I mean, yeah, we talk about how dumb everybody is, but I don't like, if you go back to this, right, and how stupid and fake this was, Naira, and her testimony that she saw Saddam throwing babies out of incubators. And it's all super fake, right? It's totally made up.
It's been 1 year since the war against Iraq began, and all last week there have been re-examinations. Among the names that have reappeared is Naira. It's been said many times, in war, the first casualty is truth. Does it apply to the Gulf War? The fact of Saddam Hussein's aggression is beyond dispute. But what about the campaign to commit American troops to liberate Kuwait? To get Americans, perhaps any people, to support a war in a place millions barely heard of, certain buttons must be pressed. In the run-up to the Gulf War, Yes,
she was the ambassador's daughter, which they lied about. They lied about who she was. Naira arrived in Washington next to Tom Lantos, a neoconservative Democrat who brought her to testify before Congress about human rights abuses. These fake-ass wars are always about human rights abuses, right? At this time, his caucus was renting discounted office spaces from Hill and Knowlton, and they took a $50,000 payment from Citizens for a Free Kuwait. Before Naira appeared, she was coached by Hill and Knowlton. This is a law firm, PR and law firm stuff. Reporters repeated the heart-wrenching story of the babies in incubator stuff until George Bush Sr. spun the tale into a national address. So Bush Sr. uses this and goes on and says, we got to go to war against Saddam because he's throwing babies out of incubators. Like, this is so fake. Like, I mean, imagine believing this. Okay, this is the kind of propaganda that boomers were dealing with. Well, we got to fight Saddam. He's throwing the babies out of incubators. It's just so stupid, right? And it's all literally made up by a Bush Senior PR law firm, Hill and Knowlton. But out of this, Colin Powell and Norman Schwarzkopf become national heroes, while Wolf Blitzer becomes a superstar overnight through his news coverage. And it's all fake. Yeah, Bush Sr., this is where he says it.
Certain that we stand at a defining hour. Halfway around the world, we are engaged in a great struggle in the skies and on the seas and sands. We know why we're there.
Hussein threw the babies out of incubators, so he's a threat to decency and humanity, so we have to invade Iraq. Duh.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind.
So, in other words, the neoconservative, neoliberal world order is kicking off in 1991, right at the birth of the war on tea, you see. So the war on tea out of the Cold War is essential for the creation of this Council on Foreign Relations plan that Bush is talking about. That's the real NWO. And all of these illegal wars are about that. And it's the same plan that was in the minds of the people at the time of World War I and World War II. A neoliberal, technocratic, Fabian socialist order. That's what he's talking about. He is the mouthpiece, not just of like the CIA, but the CFR. That's the world order that is being erected. And it seeks, as you guys correctly note, full spectrum dominance, as Engdahl wrote. That's actually the Pentagon's term. What are your thoughts about Swedenborgianism? Dell says for $2. Dell, the funky Homo sapien. I think it's a anti-Trinitarian sect, so don't have a lot more to say than that. Joe Wags, $5. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Joe Wags. A big idea. A new world order. So the context of that famous speech is 1991 Gulf War and Saddam as a TERROR man. We're going to need some new TERROR men, aren't we, in this 1990s era of the dominance of Western liberalism? And Blumenthal is correct to quote Francis Fukuyama, the famous neocon scholar, excitedly proclaimed in his 1989 essay that after the Cold War, the end of history had arrived. Western neoliberal democratic capitalism is the triumph of the West, the essence of Western liberalism, and the victory of the final stage of all history. Wow. While the neocons were plotting a global upheaval of crises and war on tea, the jihadis who had graduated from the anti-Soviet era metastasized now into a revolutionary force. These disaster capitalists and neoconservatives were now preaching permanent war. The never-ending war on tea, the eternal war. And John McCain even said this, if you remember. The war on tea is a eternal, never-ending war. The neoconservatives who preach permanent war and the jihadis, their dialectical opposites, made this instability their lifeblood. So all of this has to be understood in the context of coming out of the Cold War, 1979 Afghanistan, transitioning directly into the aesthetics of terror, aesthetic terrorism, through the same groups of the Phoenix program. That Phoenix program was aesthetic terrorism. Translating that into the jihadi, it was using the Contras, but the Contras don't matter anymore. Now it's the jihadis who become the skeleton key that justifies any and every CIA action and interventionist action throughout the next several decades. I did not know this, but did you know Osama's first attack was 1993? He led and supposedly called the shots on a 1993 attack on a U.S. base in Yemen, we're told. So now we're getting the justification. Oh, suddenly our great ally, our hero that was the supported by all of our allies, and we wrote glowing editorials in Western news pieces 2 years earlier. Now in 1993, he is the great villain. Combined with a couple other characters, Ramzi Youssef, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and Ramzi Youssef was another U.S. intelligence asset. So remember, these characters are all U.S. intelligence and Afghanistan Black Ops assets during the Soviet conflict. Oh, suddenly they're now the villains. Interesting. Ramzi Youssef worked for the U.S. and the Pakistani ISI during the Afghan war. Now, however, he was the great villain. And what is the next big event after Saddam in 1991? Does anybody remember? It's the big 1993 event. The big WTC 1993. The radical Wahhabi entities set up a headquarters. You can't make this up, okay? In Michigan. So already Michigan was getting the Islamic stuff pretty heavy in the 90s. I didn't know that. I've never been to Michigan. So, but in 1993, the Michiganders were getting their fill of Wahhabism as Al-Qaeda set up Mercy International in Michigan, a humanitarian organization established to enact clandestine support for the Balkan conflicts. Ooh. So Al-Qaeda is aiding in the KLA attacks. The Kosovo Liberation Army, which is organized crime, jihadis, to fight against Slobodan Milosevic and Serbia. Bosnia, Serbia, Herzegovina, all this stuff. Remember this in the early 90s? This is when Clinton BOMBs Serbia. And this is being aided and abetted out of a fake charity called Mercy International set up in Michigan, of all places. But if you recall, this is not actually far-fetched, because Douglas Valentine argues that the Phoenix program was run out of Michigan State, Michigan University, Michigan State, whichever it is. The CIA at Michigan State were running the Phoenix program. You can't make this up. That's admitted, by the way. It's not a theory. There was the almost arrest of one of the top operatives, the Ali Mohammed guy that we mentioned earlier. And guess who gets him off the hook? As he was about to be arrested by, I think, Egyptian authorities. Somebody was about to arrest this guy. No, the San Francisco field office. No, I'm sorry. Canadian. So the Canadian Royal Mounted Police caught up with Ali Mohammed. They arrested him. Ali Mohammed made a call to the FBI San Francisco field office. Special Agent John Zent told the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to let his asset go. Ali Mohammed was then free to go. And this is going to be a recurring theme that we find with a lot of these Big 9 event people, 1993 event people. They're able to make phone calls and they're let free. And this is something that comes up in a lot of the history of the espionage tales. In fact, the same thing is said about Bin Laden many times. He's able to just go free. He makes a phone call. He's let loose. The higher-ups let him go. Why do the higher-ups keep letting these people go? I thought they were there to protect us and get the bad guys. But they seem to keep letting the bad guys go. I don't understand. It makes no sense. It's just incompetence. We've got incompetent leaders and we need more funding. The same radical operatives are able to be set free and go back to fundraising. Then we get the suspicious character who you may or may not know is involved in the Big 93 event, and that is Imad Salam, who was a very notorious shady character. Even looks like a super shady, like just straight up shady. A longtime FBI informant who was going to be used as apparently the main planner, organizer of the 1993 event, but he recorded his handlers egging him on to do it. And so that didn't go well, but he ended up getting $1 million out of that, by the way, which is pretty funny. But even after that, he's still used by the FBI, even after getting $1 million out of this thing where they were trying to set him up to be the patsy for the 1993 event. Slowboat Whiteboard, $20. I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone of the $20 orange super chat goal. Well, thank you guys. I don't think we got any $20 super chats. That's okay. Today was a very mixed, chill stream. It was a mix of serious and a mix of goofy. So that is the first few chapters. We're going to stop there because I intend to do a longer analysis, but that will be for members. So as I read through Management of Savagery by Max Blumenthal, and I would say always be sure and get your own copies of the books. Anytime I review somebody's book, I do try to tell you to get a copy if you can, if you think you would read it. BC Thomas, $5. I get your point. Why are you calling Americans dumb? Because Americans are kind of dumb. What do you mean? The people peddling the lies are the worst. But that doesn't make Americans not dumb, because the people peddling the lies are dumb. I mean, they're evil. I think it's just like, you know, people don't read any books. You know, when the people called in to debate me on Tiny Mustache Man, there were only 2 people who called in that I could tell had actually read anything on it. And yet there's this outlandish arrogance that people have of vastly overestimating their competence with no knowledge. And yes, it's Dunning-Kruger, but I mean, I would think you would at least have some knowledge of it if you wanted to debate it. But I think, you know, Americans just don't have any knowledge of this. And it's the same with even with intelligent people, you know, Apostate Prophet, Ridvan. I mean, I can list about 10 books on this topic, and I guarantee you Ridvan hasn't read one of them. So I think we all know why he backed out of the debate. This is just one of a giant stack of books. And we're only scratching the surface with all these shady characters. Rachel Wilson, $20. I remember there being a panic in my town about Big 9 because we knew that Dearborn, Michigan was already an Islamic no-go. No-go zone. Yeah, I know that you guys have mentioned and spoken of the Islamicization there. I guess I just didn't realize, like in Tennessee in the 90s, you never saw a Muslim. I'd never seen a Muslim until maybe the 2000s in the South at all. Now, of course, you see mosques in Nashville. Right. I don't remember there being a mosque in Nashville at all in the 1990s. If there was, it was tiny. Nobody knew about it. Now, when you go to Jacksonville, you go to Nashville, you see mosques. So, but I mean, the idea that this isn't by design is just preposterous. It baffles me when you get these leftists who act like it's not by design, and then you get fake neocons who act like, you know, that there's not a larger design, that it's just all Islam. You know what I mean? It's just stupid. Orb Max are $20. 20 orbs for the Orwellian homies. Well, thank you so much. Guys, I want to remind you that we have a show sponsor, which is Choq.com, CHOQ.com, the best in supplementation. I mean, just think about, like, the weapons of mass destruction was a lie. The babies in incubators was a lie. And yet our entire foreign policy for the last 30, 40 years, and going back even further, is lies. And yet people are still defending this stuff. Remember to head over to chalk.com, the best in supplementation. You can use the promo code JAY40 to get 40% off all those great chalk products, including the Chad mode, including the Action 2.0, and including the Tomcat Elite, proven to boost testosterone in studies. You can go read those studies over at chalk.com, CHOQ.com. Thank you guys for supporting the show and super chatting. I don't think I missed any. I think I got everybody's super chats. Otherwise, this will be a part 1. If you want to see part 2, it'll be, I don't know, next few days. I'll do Blumenthal's an analysis of the rest of what Blumenthal talks about. Pros and cons, overall, pretty good so far. I do have some critiques of his leftism, but the information is pretty solid. It's definitely a good companion piece to Secret Affairs and Dreyfus's Devil's Game and Golden Fitzgerald's Invisible History book. Otherwise, everybody have a great night and look forward to tomorrow's Tom Coombe analysis as we do Final Reckoning and see where it goes.